Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Rosie, this is my husband Jeremy. We have been doing an 11-week 200-hour yoga teacher training. This is weekend 6. I've been doing a video every single weekend talking about the whole process of what we've been learning, everything we've been doing, all the ups and downs and everything. So if you want to go and watch those, I'll leave them all linked below. So week 6, Saturday. So this morning we started with an hour flow. What was anything special about that one, do you remember?
I hate morning yoga.
Oh, Jeremy hates morning yoga.
Just in case I didn't know that, confirmed it. But it was interesting because Adrian included like 12 new poses.
Yeah, so it's things that we've done in like previous classes, but we've not actually studied here. So it was kind of just, he was cueing us into them, and you know, mentally we're like taking note. Okay, like he said that. Okay, this happened, that happened. But I think we're going to go over that probably next weekend. Yeah. I don't think we've got time this weekend. But it was nice to start because I was actually I taught Jeremy for an hour yesterday, and it was interesting because I was thinking to myself, there's certain poses I want to teach him, but I don't know the pose name. I don't particularly know the cues. I don't know where in the sequence I would add it in. So at the moment, my teaching seems pretty limited in terms of like we have our mothering sequence, which is the kind of the sun salutation A, B, flow 1, 2, 3. And obviously the warm-up and the sun salutation at the end. So I kind of have Shavasana at the end, sorry. So I do have like a good hour segment that I could teach. But if I want to teach something extra, I feel a little bit like there's things I do want to do, but I don't quite know where and how and what and things. So it's going to be interesting now to add to our, I feel like now we've got the
library.
I feel like now we've got the kind of basics and the basic structure of how you should do a yoga flow, like a yoga class. So it'll be interesting now to learn how to add to that and where to add bits in. Because obviously you can't just do like a back bend at the beginning of the class, or you can't redo a handstand first thing, or you can't do, you know, a Shavasana midway through the routine. So it'll be good to kind of build on that now. I mean, I won't. Mine's going to be one of these classes. Anyway, so it was good to try different poses. I'm interested to kind of do that next weekend. So I did that for an hour, which is a good flow this morning. And then we had a guest speaker called Giovanna, I think it is.
Giovanna
Heyman. And he teaches about accessible yoga. So basically we had to read a little bit of the book yesterday, and back in the 80s, he started protesting about the AIDS crisis that was going on, obviously with gay men everywhere. So he was protesting that, and then decided that rather than just protesting, he could use his knowledge of yoga and start to help people with AIDS, right? And start to kind of use yoga in different aspects of life rather than just the protesting. So he started teaching people and kind of got into helping people in hospitals and things like that, right?
Yeah, and he met people and slowly went to basically accessible yoga, meaning making yoga accessible to everyone, even with people that can't move as much as everyone, or eventually people in like wheelchairs and stuff like that.
Had some really lovely key takeaways. I've written some notes again because I forget otherwise, and I was like super excited after listening to him. I was like, yes, like he was saying things, I was like, I fucking love that, because like it's not often that you hear, like he was saying, for example, my goal as a yoga teacher is to teach them for however long, and then eventually for them to stop coming because they can teach themselves. And he was saying that yoga teachers don't say that because obviously they want people to come back every single day for 20 years, don't they? It's kind of, it's bad for business if you say to people, ideally you should stop coming back to me because I want you to know enough about your body and how to move it without having to pay for my classes, which I found amazing, because I think, well, that's obvious. Like it's not something that people talk about, is it? I mean, it's not good for yoga business as a yoga teacher.
Yeah, this quote was good. Like, basically, like it was something along the line like the truth of yoga is about empowering the student, but you can't say that because it would be bad for business.
Yeah,
or something along those lines. Yeah.
But some of the things that I took away from this, so this was the one that I liked the most, is that advanced yoga students are the ones who have more control over their body, and you know what feels good or bad, and beginner students want you to tell them what to do. So basically he was saying that when you start taking yoga classes, because you have like pretty much zero knowledge about it, you turn up to a yoga class and the yoga teacher tells you what to do for an hour, and you just do whatever you're being told. So it's bend over this way, straighten this, lift that, do that, and you just do it. And there's been a lot of times when I started doing yoga, especially in Miami, that I would do things and I would push myself too far because the yoga teacher would just say the most advanced version. I'd push myself and hurt myself and then not be able to walk for a couple of days because I'd, pulled my muscles or whatever it was. Whereas he was saying that, so that's a beginning yoga beginning yoga student is somebody who just does what they're told rather than feeling it in their body. Whereas he was saying an advanced yoga student for him is not somebody who can do crow pose and handstand and all these crazy things. It's just somebody who knows their own limits and knows what they are comfortable with and what works for them and what is their full expression of the pose. So I found that really lovely because I feel like a lot of the time I have a lot of self-doubt, like, oh, who am I to teach yoga when I can't even do all these things and I'm not good enough and I'm not an advanced yogi, and you do start to have self-doubts about like being good enough. But it was nice to know that you can be an advanced yoga person, student or teacher, and not necessarily do the advanced poses, but you just know in yourself that this is what I'm capable of today. And that's the other thing, that you can change day by day and even hour by hour, minute by minute. One day you might be able to do every single pose like a perfect athlete, and then the next day not do anything because your body is different day to day. So it was just really nice to like, we've kind of been told this the whole process, like this whole 11 weeks is about accessible yoga. So we've kind of been told the same concepts over and over again, but I think when different people word it in a different way, something clicks and you're like, holy shit, that's amazing. So that was my like big moment, being like, okay, I don't have to be an Instagram girl, like yoga person with my head around, like legs around your heads and everything, to be an advanced yoga person. You can just know your own limits and yes, challenge yourself, of course, but I don't know, that was just really good for me. I really enjoyed that. The next thing I wrote down was, in relation to this, so if somebody comes to your class and you think they're a beginner, you might not listen to their experience during the practice. So for example, if somebody turns up to a yoga class and you tell them to do something and they don't do it because it's hurting too much or because it's pulling a muscle or because they have a prior injury, if you think they're a beginner, you might not listen to their experience of being like, actually that hurts. So just kind of listening to your students, and like people know their bodies better than you know their bodies, was really important as well. That was a good one. The next one, which I really enjoyed as well, was that outer ability does not equal inner peace. So even though there's the girls on Instagram who can do, a back bend and hold their ankles and push their head through their legs and do all these like crazy stunts, yoga things, that doesn't necessarily mean that they have inner peace. And it's not about, your outer ability does not equal inner peace. And I thought that was really beautiful, because you can have people who are in a wheelchair who can only move their arms and they can't move the rest of their body. Technically, they're not doing all these crazy advanced poses. They're not, they haven't got the ability to do all these things, but they might have the most amazing inner peace. And that's kind of what yoga is all about anyway. It's about meditation and inner peace and working on yourself. And it's not about all the poses. That was really good as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, you had a few good things about that. And actually I thought that was interesting, just even outside yoga. Because he applies to yoga in a way that a lot of people see yoga as just the asanas, the poses, when actually this is just 1/8, and it's about. He had one slide, I forgot, but it was something about the mind. Yoga is something about becoming a best friend with your mind, something like that. He said that was, I don't know, the way he phrased it. It was quite cool, I thought, and it was about finding your inner peace, being okay with yourself and stuff like that. But yeah, that's even true outside of yoga. Like some, like people like to be really strong and muscly, so they can, like get guys, when actually inside they have a lot of insecurities, and it's just the outside is just a facade, and actually they don't have any confidence or whatever. So yeah, I think that applies even in general.
I guess things, buying designer clothes or going on, having a flashy car or whatever, like having all these extra
and you can
things.
Be broke.
Like all these extra things. Sometimes people try and make up for missing something inside.
Yeah.
So yes, that person at the yoga studio might be able to do all these crazy flips and things, but are they actually happy? Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe they are, but also maybe they aren't. So that, being good at doing asana poses doesn't mean that you have inner peace, which I thought was really lovely.
Yeah, and it's not the goal.
Yeah.
Like the goal is not to touch your toes.
And he actually teaches I think it was 30 hours, it's 20 hours of live classes and then 10 hours of recorded videos. I had a look. Accessible yoga program. So you can kind of, I think it was like $600, $650, sign up and do some extra programs with him and then be kind of a certified accessible yoga teacher.
Yeah, the next session is in May.
Yeah, which is quite interesting. I'd be interested in that because
yeah,
I think what would be nice is to kind of leave it maybe 6 months to a year and figure out what we enjoy doing. And then if we want to move forward in something like that, then do it. I don't know, because like I don't know if I would enjoy doing maybe pregnancy yoga or infant loss yoga or regular whatever that is yoga or accessible yoga or whatever. Like I don't know what we're going to be doing.
Yeah, I mean I'm still the same. I mean I personally still don't know if I want to teach anyway.
Yeah.
But I like the conversations.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to do it just to be enlightened about some concept and like
things,
you know, like if you remove all the yoga that we do during the training, there's so many conversations that just that I'm happy to have them.
Yeah.
Just like what we're gonna talk about just after, like about this afternoon. So yeah, maybe just carry on. But,
so we did that, and then
we had
lunch, and then we started talking about accessible yoga in terms of.
We had a presentation about disability.
Disabilities, yeah.
Ableism.
Yeah, ableism.
Yeah. So we watched 3 TED Talks.
Well, 2 TED Talks and 1 60-minute thing. Yeah, really interesting. So one of them was this woman in a wheelchair, and she was saying that I am not your inspiration. And she was saying that a lot of times, like when she was a child, she got put up for an award for being an amazing person who's accomplished all these things, like an accomplishment award or something. She was like, I'm a regular girl who goes to school and I sit and watch TV at home. I've not done anything that's brave or an achievement.
Laudable. Yeah.
And she was just saying that because I'm in a wheelchair, that gives people the right to think that I'm doing something crazy because I'm waking up every morning and remembering my name, is what she said. Which is something that I think that as able-bodied people, well, myself anyway, I do often think like, oh wow, they're so brave. And it's bad of me to say, because she was saying like, I'm not brave, I'm just living my life. But if you're not in that position, I do sometimes think, oh, they're so brave.
No, I understood what she meant in a sense that what she was saying is that, okay, able-bodied people objectify disabled people to make them feel better about themselves. She was saying, if I do some, so she was saying as a disabled person, if I do something great, people are going to tell me that I am an inspiration on everything, meaning like you're disabled and you're able to do that, which means I should be able to do it as well as a able-bodied person. So it's using the person to find inspiration for yourself and to actually make you feel better about yourself. And she was like, this is where like they're being objectified.
It's like at least you're not them kind of thing.
Yeah,
it could
like
be worse.
Yeah, it could be worse. Yeah, so that I got it.
Yeah.
But yeah, after also, I mean, it's okay, I think, to also acknowledge when someone, like she said, like don't acknowledge me for just going to school.
Yeah, and then we watched another 2 videos.
About autism.
Yeah. And so one of the people on the program has autism. So they were kind of sharing their perspective of how they're treated in everyday life with things, and how just an interesting conversation because there's 2 teachers as well, and they were saying that they're being told to say a person with autism, whereas a person with autism was saying I'm an autistic person, and there's kind of the language between that being like, if you're a person with cancer is a disease, and it's like something that you carry with you that you know that you can get rid of. It's not part of you, like it's something that was, you know, cancer comes and it can also go, whereas being autistic is who they are. So there's different conversations. It's kind of the way that people who aren't autistic try to make autistic people feel better, whatever the word is, you know, accepted or use the right terminology, whereas actually if you ask an autistic person how they want to be referred as, they want to be referred to as an autistic person, not a person with autism. So it's interesting how the conversations between that as well in terms of language and what you should say and what you shouldn't say. And I think basically just ask the person you're talking to, do you want me to say an autistic person, or do you want me to say a person with autism? Because that can be different, I think, with different people. and this is the case when you talk to lots of different minority groups, is, you know,
I don't think it's the right way to do it.
Yeah, I think
anyway.
every person has their own preference of what they want to be referred to as, or like the language that you use around them and describing them. So it's very interesting to get her...
at the end she was saying like, just be respectful and maybe just ask me, you know, or just like, also she was saying, don't pretend, you know, don't try not to say it or whatever, like just just be respectful, I think.
We're talking about the different disabilities that people can have as well, if they are deaf or blind or learning difficulties. So dyslexia is one of them, which I have, or, you know, autism, ADHD, and how things can be a problem. So things like not having ramps when you come to buildings, or you know, not having braille in libraries, or just lots of different things that is like able-bodied people without I mean, I have dyslexia, but it's not like a crazy disability. We don't really see that as an issue, and it's only when somebody tells you, you know, somebody with a disability tells you that these problems, and you think, oh yeah, well, like,
well, what was
it's
interesting,
kind of eye-opening.
It was about, so the way it was presented was, you have the medical view and the social view, and how for example, people try to fix people with autism, or people try to prevent it to happen, you know, like investing money in research to somehow fix or she was saying, or like to make them look less crazy. That's what she was saying in the first text.
Act more normal, I think it was.
Yeah. So trying to like fix a problem, when, for example, a lot of the way she was saying is that sometimes it's about the environment, rather than trying to fix a person or whatever that is not broken. It's about changing the environment so they will be more comfortable, and the environment will suit, you know, their specificity in a sense. Because I was asking you, basically autism is just it's not a disease, it's just something that in a neurological point
just
of view,
the
brain is why, like, have different connection and interpret things in a different way. So it's just because our environment is set for the majority of people, but if you tweak that, those people will fit included and they'll be okay.
She kind of gave the example of a supermarket. So if I go to a shopping mall, there's lots of, well, she was saying, it's not me, but she was saying that there's lots of bright lights, there's lots of people, it's very noisy, there's lots of flashing things and a lot of going on, busy people, it's very busy, there's lots of people walking around, it can be very chaotic for people with autism. Now, people will say that it's the autistic person's problem for not being able to cope with the shopping mall, whereas if you change the script and you have a shopping mall that's got dim lights, nothing flashing and crazy, it's very calm and quiet, there's not too many people there, it's not a crazy rush, well then the autistic person might actually enjoy being in the shopping mall. So it's not about...
She's not disabled in a sense in the shopping mall anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's not because of the person that she's disabled, it's because of the environment. If we change the environment, then the person might not feel disabled in that certain environment. Yeah. So it was about kind of adjusting things and trying to make people, I think, just be more aware.
Yeah, being aware and being mindful and maybe... Well, it was about, educating us, and I was thinking about also this a lot of autistic people are unemployed or things like that.
Undervalued.
So, because like a job interview is super stressful for everyone, so for some people it can be like extra stressful. So maybe, you know, adjusting things in the process, again, in the environment, in the workspace, so they feel more safe, probably, and welcomed and comfortable.
Because there was one video about this company that is hiring specifically autistic people, and how some big companies are starting to do that now as well. So some autistic people enjoy doing the same thing over and over again, and they like the repetition, they like the fact that it's just the same thing over and over again, that they're not gonna, you know, it's not things changing all the time that they can't keep up with kind of things.
They need the organisation.
They enjoy the organisation, and they're very detail orientated as well. Some autistic people, not all of them again. So the fact that they can, you know, read. I can't remember, was it like reading blog posts or something?
He was analyzing content websites and that to look for mistakes.
Yeah.
And something that, you know, like a 24 or 42, like two digits that are switched that we would never pay attention. Some people, you know, pay more attention to detail in general. So if you can spot that, well, that can save tons of dollars for a company if you just switch, you know, the digit for the correct price.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really interesting. A lot of things about basically adjusting and adapting our environment to be more inclusive. That's really what I think.
And the other thing as well was that autism. They say that autism is on a spectrum, and they used to say full. What was it? High functioning and low functioning, and even that puts people kind of at a competitive or like just on a scale, whereas the person who's autistic on the program was saying it's more like a kind of colour chart, and they might have a little bit of this colour, a little bit of that colour, a lot of this colour, maybe like a tiny bit of this, and there's all these different things that autistic people can have, and some people have a whole bunch of different things, and some people just have one or two different things, and not all autistic people are the same, not all autistic people act and talk and react the same. Like the teacher, Sari, was saying that her nephew is non-verbal, for example, whereas the autistic person on the program, obviously they are verbal and they're doing yoga and they're able to do all these different things. So it's kind of just not putting everybody under the same umbrella, I guess, being like, you're autistic, therefore you are X, Y, Z.
But that was interesting also because, I mean, I'm pretty uneducated about that, and when you see most of the time like autistic people on TV, they're either like on one side, if I think about autistic people, it's like the people that, you know, can only do one thing really well, like they're really good with numbers or whatever, or they have like a really good memory about a certain thing. Or I see in some movie or TV show the autistic person that, you know, as soon as the environment is chaotic, like they go and like doing like that's something you see very often in the movie, I feel. When actually, like, I mean, the person in the training, like, I would not know she was autistic. I would never know. I would never guess because it's not visible, like, or like the person on the TED Talk. You know, like she saying like she didn't have any sign, like, or she was maybe like totally normal. So it's not like we like. That was interesting to see because I feel what we usually see in the news, on TV, on a paper, are always like, I don't know if that's right, but extreme cases, or maybe people with more on the spectrum. Don't know how you would say it.
Different, I think.
Yeah. And we are shown just like certain. Yeah. We're not shown like the whole spectrum.
Yeah.
So I had some cliche, and that was interesting actually to speak to someone in a training and watch someone on a TED Talk that it was not the image that I had of someone with autism. So
and same with autism and other disabilities, is that they're not all visible. People might have disabilities that you don't know about and that you can't see. So don't just assume that everybody's able-bodied because they might have disabilities that you don't know about. Super interesting anyway. We had a lot of good conversations.
Yeah, could have done that for a long
like a long day, yeah.
Yeah. After that, we went in breakout room, and in small groups, we went through 2 new poses that we saw in the morning. Mm-hmm. So we did that for about half an hour, and then we practiced together.
And this time was group 2 teaching, which was Jeremy, 2 of the students.
Group 2. Yeah.
Group 2. And how was it?
Yeah, it was fun, yeah. I was doing the warm-up sequence, so the first 20 minutes of the hour, the warm-up, the sun salutation, stuff like that.
Were you nervous?
No, it was alright. I enjoyed it, actually. It was fun.
See, me and Jeremy are the opposites. I get super nervous, and I also need everything written down, like exactly what I'm going to say, and be super planned and organised, whereas you had a plan, but you could have quite easily gone off and done something else.
Yeah, I stick with it because obviously
they were expecting it.
Yeah. No, it was fun. I don't know. After it's different. Like I was teaching, like I was speaking to a camera. Also, you know, like not paying attention to what the students were doing or stuff like that. I was really focused on, okay, I need to give the right information so people listening are gonna get there. So it was really like a one-way thing in a sense, because right now I can't do both. I can't spit it out and also look and maybe adjust everything. Yeah. So it was a one-way conversation in my head. Like I could have been in a black box with just a mic, I would have done exactly the same. But yeah, I mean that's just experience. But no, it was less scary than I thought it would be. But again, I'm not the most stressed person in the world. No, yeah, it's. I mean, that's what. Yeah, that's what we need. We need to practice now. So, it's just practicing over and over again, and get used to. But yeah, I think it's interesting to find like a rhythm as well. Like next time I do it, for example, I'll put a grid on Zoom so I can see everyone. Because something, for example, I noticed that when I was speaking, I didn't know if what I was saying was making sense. It was making sense in my head, but maybe it wasn't in someone else. So I think the next time what I want to do is like pay more attention a little bit to people and actually see if maybe this cue seems to be more helpful than another one and stuff like that. Also giving more information and when you go through like a post twice, you say one thing and then you say something else. But again, that's just experience and practice. So I'm done with it now. Next you have to wait another 5 weeks for yours. No.
I'm week 11, which is also the week of the exams, and we have to do an exam and
you'll be fine. That's great.
A group class.
That's actually good.
That's a double whammy. That's not good.
Well, at least everything is done in once
I've just got 11 weeks to build up to it. Perfect.
Yeah, but we're teaching every time, so it's fine.
Yeah. No, it's good. I'm excited. So tomorrow we're doing chair yoga. We'll talk to you about that tomorrow. But I'm excited to learn. Like I said, I feel like now we've got the foundational. Like you guys added some extra bits in. So like a squat and.
Well, we tried to add at least like one new pose each, or even two, which was funny because we didn't know we were going to learn them today. But we tried. Well, we went through the manual and just see, okay, this seems to be easy enough and safe enough that we felt okay to do it. But yeah, I mean, he said that, be creative, so we tried.
But it's good now that we've kind of got the basics, and it'd be nice now to add on and add our own little like things and that's the thing, everyone's going to be different as well with the way that they teach and how they the things they want to add on and the cues they want to give. And
it's interesting also to teach with other people. Like I think you would have freaked out. Like I didn't even say it because I didn't want to embrace or whatever, but I was supposed to do something else at the end. I was supposed to go through another round of sun salutation, but I saw the other person in the group, the partner, going on the screen and getting ready to teach after me. And I saw the way she was there, that she was ready to speak. She was not going to wait that I finish my other thing. So I noticed, so I was like, okay, it's fine. I'm just going to stop here. Because otherwise, I felt like me carrying on would have maybe thrown off, or she would have feel like, or we would have both speak at the same time. And the point is to have like a flow where you don't even see the three people. So it's interesting now. So you have to adjust because you don't know what's going to happen. Like, you don't know if the next person is like, okay, I'm going to go, whatever. Okay, so that's a different dynamic than when you teach on your own as well. But it's cool. So it's like, all right, you need to, everything doesn't go as planned. And
it's kind of similar to was that last week as well, where it was kind of, we had to work in the groups of like 5 and then do a 2-minute warm up each, like a 10-minute warm up. Yeah, and that is why it's kind of working with a group and like planning a sequence, and then you also just have to like hope that they do what you plan.
Yeah, and if they take longer, you need to adjust.
And you want to hope that they leave you in the position that you want them and not somewhere else that you then got to come out of. And
so it's interesting, like just to prepare us as well for unexpected things that can happen in normal situation. You're going to be late to a class
And it's also nice as well that if you're working with other people and you kind of have that. I wouldn't say it's a struggle, but it is definitely different. It means then that when you're working with yourself, you've got a lot
should be alright with yourself.
There's going to be less that's going to go wrong if you're not having to rely on other people to do different bits and things for you. So it's good practice to kind of get used to just working with different people and seeing what happens and then just being okay with it. So tomorrow we're doing chair yoga the whole day, so we'll be back tomorrow to tell you all about that. Good night. So today is not Sunday because again we forgot to film, I think, or maybe we were just tired. I don't remember what happened on Sunday. But basically it's Friday and we're now just going to talk about what we did on Sunday so we can kind of keep up with our video of talking about the yoga teacher training basically. So what did we do on Sunday? I honestly can't remember, it was only a week ago. I think we did chair yoga the whole day, but I don't remember it.
Yeah, we spent the entire day with one of our teacher slash instructor, facilitator, they call themselves. And yeah, the whole day was dedicated to chair yoga.
Do we have any guest speakers?
No, that was on Saturday. We talked about that already.
Okay.
No, we dove into the chair yoga the entire day, literally. So she had a presentation. Well, we practiced in the morning for a start. We did like an hour practice at 8:30 a.m. And then she just like broke everything down in the sense like what would you do for a warm up? What would you do for like to work on these kind of things? We used the book Accessible Yoga quite a lot. The book that we showed
yesterday.
The first half of the video, because this book is giving like a lot of variation. So how do you do, cobra on a chair, for example? So yeah, we spent the entire day like going through all the main poses or the main sequences and all the different sections of a class, and she was giving us examples on how you can adjust and practice the equivalent on a chair. So it was like a lot of listening and talking, and then moving to the chair back and forth. He was like, okay, we're gonna go through that and then we do it. We do go through that, we do it. So I took the entire day because it was like a ton of information and we only scratched the surface in a sense.
Is that when we were using the bolsters and things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, how to use props on a chair also. So yeah, like a lot of things. Because yeah, the point was to see how chair yoga can be efficient for able-bodied people like us, or also for people that can't move certain part, like a back injury or whatever, or people that are disabled, of like
people that don't have balance as well.
Yeah, like so many things. So a lot of different variation and possibilities there. So that's why it like try to take like all the main yoga poses and go through it and all the variation in a day. That was a lot. So yeah, it was a lot of back and forth, like theory and trying it. And kind of around the end of the day, we went into breakout room with 2 other students, and we had to 3 other students actually, and we had to create a little flow and see how we could create our own sun salutation on a chair. So we had to do a little warm up just to get warmed up. But how we could adjust the poses from the sun salutation sequence to a chair, because everything is not so doable. So yeah, and that was an interesting way. Like I was not inspired at all by it because I just didn't know how to adjust it. I was just flicking through the book and doing that.
Well, because you were a bit like, I don't understand, I don't feel inspired. So we said, okay, well, you just lead us through a normal sun salutation as you would do normally, and we'll do the variation on the chair. And that was quite interesting because you were saying that we did things differently.
Yeah, you were not doing all the same things.
So like halfway lift, I did completely different to what other people were doing or whatever. So
yeah, no, so yeah, it was interesting exercise. There's just like so much to unpack from there. Like we saw a lot in a day, like a lot of information. But it was interesting to learn about it and how the chair yoga is not only for old people or people with a limited range of motion or stuff like that. Like it can be used in an office, in like a corporate environment,
in schools,
in a school,
in hospitals,
stuff like that. So, and because it's actually, it doesn't have to be easy. It's not because it's chair yoga that is, I don't know, lazy yoga or super easy, not challenging yoga. It can be used for people or a group of people that have like some limited range of motion, for example, or injuries or whatever, or not like a great balance, is good for that. But it can also done by everyone in some situations where you don't have a mat, where you don't want to sweat that much, maybe, when you stay at home the whole day on the computer and everything, just have a few movements just to move your body and things like that. And actually, if you take like a full class, it can be challenging if you make it challenging as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we don't know everything about it, but it was great to see how broad it is in a sense, and all the possibilities that the discipline can offer.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for your input.
Well, so I have a bad memory at the best of times, and it's been a week.
And you were done at the end anyway.
And I was done, like, I was just not concentrating towards the end.
No.
And like, I've had a bit of a funny week as well myself, so I just don't really remember.
Oh yeah, that was it. The whole day we did chair yoga, basically.
Alright, well, thanks for watching. This weekend we're going to do it Saturday and Sunday so that I can actually talk and actually know what we talked about the whole weekend, okay? Deal?
And we might have a cute puppy on Saturday for the video.
Yeah, maybe.
If it comes in
But we
time.
need to start doing it on both days so that I don't forget. Like, if we do it a week later, I've completely forgotten, and it's worth doing it so that I remember. So next week, we'll promise we'll do it Saturday, and this weekend, promise we'll do it Saturday and Sunday, so that I can actually have a coherent conversation and know what I've just learned for the whole day, rather than just being like, I don't remember. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you give it a big thumbs up, and
That was kind of Jeremy's video rather than Rosie video, to be honest.
yeah. And
see you on Wednesday.
no, you like to do
Next
your
week?
subscribe thing.
You
And
have to say it.
subscribe for more videos. Bye.
Bye.